Hey, 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 Laura J., class of 2009 from McMaster University. English was my major. I have an HBA, and do say that I went on to also get certified to teach English as a foreign language and specialized in teaching English grammar, without realizing how significant that would become later on when I began hosting calls with people who had went further down rabbit holes than what I or many have had an opportunity to, for we have all specialed our eyes on certain specialties that are why we cross our T's and dot our I's when we are not capitalized within a capitalistic system under a corporatocratic government that I want to reveal to you with the help of a few of my friends the way that the imperial guard of the Byzantine Empire was actually where we moved into an autocracy or an autocracy, which was the title ascribed to the rivals of the Holy Roman Empire in Western Europe. That was because the term or title Basileus, which had formerly meant sovereign, was used following Heraclius and his rule, though Augustus continued to be used in a reduced capacity as Augustus was a title. Augustus was why Caesar Augustus were two titles combined, for Caesar was also a title, not a name specifically for anyone. So when each of these men stepped into these public positions and were ascribed titles, it substituted their original identity for then this fictitious construct that is ascribed to an autocracy or an autocratic government that is governing the mind, for that is where we find the fiction in the diction that is calling for rights or rules to be drawn from what is unlimited as a creator or artist without needing the title, but just to know that we are artists of the lives we live, yo. So let's go where no man or woman has believed they could when following the impossible route that says, no, I am not possible, when we truly are. So true, heart, star heart comes through with the Canadian uprising. We are rising in consciousness, my friends, and we're doing it because we are dropping the walls of our words to see the fictitious nature of it all. Because the ideological state apparatuses that are reinforced by repressive state apparatuses that uphold the corporate mandates, fiats, bills, acts, curses, contracts, all the ways that we become and stay slaves within a monarch system that has been designed to ensure we don't actually develop wings strong enough to fly away from the lies. Because Peter Pan is a syndrome where the man is just a little immature boy inside, because that part remains alive until integrated, and let know that he no longer has to hold the pressure. He no longer has to do it all for us, because he has done the best that he could for as long as he could. Because that little boy, that little part of the man calling the shots in the land of fiats and bills and acts that are passed by legislative bodies these men and women step into to play the role of, but then get consumed by, because we accrue the karma when we do screw others. Sometimes it's okay when consensual, but I mean the kind of screwing where it hurts, because we're literally being pushed in between a rock and a hard place, and now the material of the gun is piercing our skin because we didn't go along with the mainstream narrative, as has been the way it has historically been when people didn't go along with what the church said. Because Rome was church and state combined under one roof. The intelligence of the lived backward system, which is what the devil is, lived backwards. The devil in the details of details we tell ourselves about his story that became our story. When the founder of Western philosophy was a man that was killed at his own hand, death by poison, at the command of those who sentenced him for piety and corrupting the minds of Athens' youth, plus worshipping false idols or gods outside of what was ascribed by the rulers of his time, when he simply asked questions that made people have to answer for the fictitious and ridiculous nature of the answers that they have been providing as if they actually know. And the confidence gives a sense of authority and like, okay, I'll go. If you say that's the safe way, then I'm going to trust you because you're going to accrue the karma if you lead me where it's not safe. And I pay with my life, you're going to pay in the next one with the added weight karmically that you gained because you screwed me to tell me to go where it wasn't safe and said it was. Your reassurance was the way the pro missed what was going to come back to him when he saw the command to execute an order at the expense of a life. That all comes back, and it won't be nice if we don't remedy and resolve what we've already done and then act better moving forward is the best we can do. We don't need to recriminate ourselves for all of our past failings or misdemeanors, but we certainly do need to learn from those experiences and learn how to actually hold space to reintegrate those uncomfortable emotions that are so big and so intense because they're in a not now tense, past or future, that keeps them out of the present now moment where they actually can resolve the energy and motion that needs to move, hence emotion. And if we don't, if we press it down, suppress it, repress it, depress it, compress it, if we press it down and try to pretend it doesn't exist, it'll be like a helium balloon that we hold underwater. That only works so long as we're paying attention to holding it down. As soon as we look around somewhere else and get distracted by the beauty and excitement of adventure, that helium balloon erupts. All of that water splashing is like the debris that flecks onto other people with the shrapnel of our minds, words embodied, expressed. And then we find we've hurt people around us without even meaning to, because something from the not now that I didn't solve before showed up to be resolved in the now moment, which is the only time that ever can move energy. And suddenly I'm paying the consequence in relationships because I've just spewed that venom and had an eruption because it was way more intense than what I was expecting in the present, when I was just going through and something small triggered a huge eruption. Well, trigger is a way that we have been made to fill up on BS of someone else's ascription. The prescription based on the subscription and the ascriptions are the descriptions that we use to describe ourselves, to put ourselves into one-dimensional boxes or labels, to say that I am that. That small label, that one word can define all of this. Well, there's a few more too, but hey, that'll do for now, we often say when we check the box of a one-dimensional identity that then fits us into a two-dimensional counterfeit version of reality that seems very real because it's counterfeit. So the counter fiats to what is real is what is not real, except for we call that nonfiction being real and then fiction being what is not real. Because if we actually were to use the words that painted the truth in its rightful place, we'd focus on the truth. and being real instead of what isn't, right? Leave a comment and let me know what you have to say about this, because I do care. I do read your suggestions, your questions, your contributions. They prompt me into different perspectives based on questions that I wouldn't have necessarily thought to ask or even consider before I met you, who leave a comment in this message or on this video to say, okay, what about this? Well, that is amazing and appreciated, and I thank you for it. So, peace out, peace in, peace be with you. May you be peace. May you have a peaceful heart. And if you're looking for community with good people, then make sure you check out the Peaceful Inner Warriors United Assembly group on Telegram, because it's a place where great conversations happen, and agreements don't have to be had about the belief systems, but the willingness to look at the BS of those belief systems is required, because those are the patterns that are keeping us stuck in the pattern of the monarch slave program. And it is not going to shift unless we shift, which means our identities have to shift to expose the entities that we've been hosting ghosts for with the gnosis that stopped us walking our own path for the sake of taking the one more familiar or well-traveled. Well, there's a whole lot here, so I want to know what you have to say about it all down below. I appreciate it. And it makes me think of the crew reference that I'm writing about in the course that I will be completing before year end. Whether it even means I don't go out with a friend on New Year's Eve, then so be it. I'm going to get this baby done and up on Udemy, and we're going to be masterminding on it. Master and capitalization with the mind in the lowercase, because we're going to use our minds to find the masters of us up till now, so we can change the thrust of the direction and momentum. What do you think?